China just made it easy to visit. Too easy. 49 countries, no visa, just book and fly. And Canton Fair just had 310,000 buyers show up at its last session. So my friend sees this and says, I'm going. Found a flight for $800, I'll walk the fair, find some suppliers for my wholesale business, shake hands, done. I told him it doesn't work like that. He said, why not? Because Google doesn't work there. WhatsApp doesn't work, your bank card doesn't work at most shops, you can't read the street signs, the taxi driver doesn't speak English, and the supplier you're about to negotiate with has been evaluating you since the second you walked in. China is wide open for business right now, but it runs on a completely different system. And if you don't prepare, you won't source anything, you'll just survive. This is everything you need to know before you go. Let's start with the obvious question. Why would you fly 15 hours to China when you can browse 3.7 million products on Alibaba from your couch? Because about 70% of suppliers on Alibaba are trading companies. They're middlemen. They don't make the product. They buy it from a factory, mark it up, and list it online. When you visit China and walk into the actual factory, that middleman disappears. And so does 15 to 30% of the cost. But it's not just about price. You can touch the product, you can see the production line, you can look the factory owner in the eye and ask about quality control, production capacity, lead times. You can tell in 10 minutes whether this is a real manufacturer or a showroom with the website. And you can build the kind of relationship that turns a supplier into a partner. Someone who tells you when your design has a flaw before you go to production. Someone who calls you when something goes wrong instead of going silent. That doesn't happen over email. That happens over a handshake, a factory tour, and a long lunch you didn't plan for. One more thing that changed the equation, as of 2026, 49 countries can enter China visa-free for up to 30 days. No application, no embassy visit, no waiting. US, UK, Australia, Canada, most of Europe. You literally just book a flight and go. The biggest barrier to visiting China is gone. This chapter may be the most important one in the entire video, because if you don't do this before you board your flight, your first 2 days in China will be a disaster. China runs on a completely different tech stack than the rest of the world. Behind the Great Firewall, Google, Gmail, YouTube, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and most Western apps are blocked. You need a VPN and you need to install and test it before you leave home. Not all VPNs work in China. Do your research, buy a reputable one, and make sure it connects while you're still at your house. Next, get an eSIM or plan to buy a local SIM card when you land. You need mobile data. Wi-Fi in hotels works, but it's often slow and filtered. Now the big one. Payment apps. China is essentially cashless. Street vendors, taxis, restaurants, convenience stores, they all run on WeChat Pay and Alipay. The good news is both now accept international cards, but the setup process is not obvious and it doesn't always work on the first try. Download both apps, link your card, and test the transaction before you fly. If you can't get them working, bring some cash as backup, but note that even ATMs have limits at around 3,000 yuan per withdrawal. While you're at it, download Didi for taxis, Trip.com for hotels and trains, and Baidu Maps or a map for navigation since Google Maps doesn't work. Save your hotel address in Chinese characters on your phone. Taxi drivers don't read English addresses. At WorldFirst, we help importers and exporters move money across borders every day. But the first money challenge in China isn't wiring $50,000 to a factory, it's buying lunch. Get your payment app sorted before you board. It'll save you a lot of stress on day one. One more thing, download offline versions of everything you can, offline maps, offline translation apps, your flight and hotel confirmations as PDFs. Assume your VPN will fail at least once. Have a backup plan that doesn't require internet. You land in Guangzhou or Shanghai or Shenzhen, immigration is fast, especially with the visa-free entry. You can scan your passport, get your photo taken, and you're through. No interrogation, no special business visa questions. Just welcome to China. The first shock is the cashless thing. Even at the airport, most vendors want WeChat Pay or Alipay. If your apps are set up, you're fine. If not, find an ATM, get some cash, and spend your first evening getting the apps working on hotel Wi-Fi. Getting to your hotel is where Didi becomes essential. Open the app, type in your hotel, and a car shows up. It works exactly like Uber. The driver won't speak English, but the app handles directions. If Didi fails, show your hotel address in Chinese characters to a taxi driver. This is why you saved it on your phone. Your hotel will likely be fine. China has excellent hotels at every price point. Budget options start around $40 to $50 a night. Mid-range is $80 to $150. If you're near a trade fair or in a business district, expect markups during peak seasons. Food is easy and cheap. Street food and local restaurants around $5 to $15 a meal. Western food exists, but it's more expensive and honestly not why you're there. Download the translation app with the camera feature. Point it at menus. It works surprisingly well. Here's the honest reality of your first 24 hours. You'll feel disoriented. Your phone works differently. You can't read anything. The noise level is higher than you're used to. That's normal. By day 2, you'll have figured out the apps, the transport, and the rhythm. By day 3, you'll wonder why you didn't come sooner. There are 2 ways to arrange factory visits, with a sourcing agent or independently. The sourcing agent handles everything. They book the factories, arrange transport, translate, and manage the meetings. They charge 5 to 10% commission on your orders ongoing. Some charge a flat daily fee instead. Going independently is cheaper but takes more work. Contact suppliers through Alibaba, 1688, or WeChat. Tell them you're visiting China on these dates and want to see their factory. Most manufacturers will say yes. They want your business. Book a freelance interpreter for $50 to $150 per day and use Didi or hire a driver to get to the industrial zones, which are often 30 to 60 minutes outside city centers. Now here's what actually happens when you arrive at a factory. You don't go straight to the production floor. You go to a conference room. There will be tea, there will be instructions, there will be a company presentation, sometimes a video. This can take 30 to 60 minutes. Don't rush it. This is relationship building. Then comes the factory floor tour. This is where you pay attention. Look at the workers. Are they focused? Is the floor organized or chaotic? Are there quality checkpoints between production stages? A messy factory doesn't always mean bad product, but visible quality control systems are a strong positive signal. After the tour, you'll sit back down to discuss specifics, pricing, MOQs, customization, lead times. Don't commit on the spot. Take notes, take photos, ask for samples, and tell them you'll follow up within a few days. And then there's the lunch. At some point during a factory visit day, you'll be invited to a long lunch, multiple courses, possibly baijiu, which is a strong Chinese grain liquor. This isn't optional socializing. This is where trust gets built. Accept the lunch. You can politely decline the baijiu, but don't skip the meal. This might be the chapter that saves you the most money, because the biggest mistakes importers make in China aren't about products or prices, they're about communication. When a Chinese supplier says yes, it doesn't always mean yes. It often means, I heard you, or I understand what you're asking. It doesn't mean, I agree, or I can deliver that. If you ask, can you do this by March? And they say yes without hesitation, probe deeper. Ask how. Ask what specifically needs to happen. The real answer is in the details, not the initial response. Silence is even more important. If a supplier goes quiet after your visit, it usually doesn't mean they're busy, it means there's a problem, or they've decided your order isn't worth their capacity. Don't wait for them to tell you. Reach out, ask directly. In Chinese business culture, delivering bad news directly is avoided because it causes loss of face for both sides. WeChat is how business happens, not email. If you're communicating with the Chinese supplier by email, you're already at a disadvantage. Set up WeChat before you go. Add your suppliers during the visit and use it for all follow-up. Voice messages are common and acceptable. It's faster than typing in Chinese. Follow-up speed matters enormously. If you visit a factory on Tuesday and follow up on WeChat by Thursday with specific questions about pricing and samples, you're in the top 5% of foreign buyers they've met. Most people hand over a business card, say they'll be in touch, and are never heard from again. And payment timing is a respect signal. When you eventually place an order and your deposit arrives on time, it tells the factory everything they need to know about what kind of a buyer you are. Late payments in China don't just delay production, they damage relationships. Paying on time says you're serious, you're reliable, and you're worth prioritizing. Anyone can find a supplier. The entire point of flying to China is to find a partner. And there's a real difference. A partner doesn't just fill your order. A partner tells you when your product design won't work before you waste money on tooling. A partner suggests a better material that saves you both money. A partner prioritizes your production run when the factory gets busy because they know you'll be back. Finding a partner takes due diligence. Ask for their business license and verify it. Visit the actual factory, not just the showroom. Check whether the products in their catalog are all in the same category. A company that makes electronics and handbags and furniture is almost certainly a trading company, not a manufacturer. Look at how they respond to hard questions. If you ask about defect rates and they say 0, that's a red flag. Every factory has defects. A partner will be honest about theirs and show you what they do about it. Understand your leverage. Right now, many Chinese factories are operating on thin margins and actively looking for reliable, long-term international buyers. But leverage doesn't mean squeezing them on price until they cut corners. It means showing them you're someone worth investing in. Consistent orders, clear specifications, respectful communication, payments on time. This applies to every partner in your supply chain, not just your manufacturer. Your freight forwarder, your QC inspector, your payment provider. Everyone should understand your business and have a stake in your success. At WorldFirst, Chinese suppliers and global buyers are both our clients. We see both sides of these transactions every single day. Good deals, bad deals, scams, long-term partnerships that create real businesses. And what we've learned is that trust is the single most important thing when two people in different countries are trying to build something together. We're trying to be one of the trust layers in that chain, helping both sides move money safely, transparently, and quickly so the relationship can focus on what actually matters. The trip is the introduction. The real work starts when you land back home. Within 48 hours of leaving China, send a follow-up message to every serious supplier on WeChat. Not a generic "nice to meet you," a specific message. Reference something from your visit. Ask about samples. Confirm the next step. Order samples from your top 3 to 5 factories. Don't commit to one until you've compared. Expect samples to take 1 to 3 weeks to arrive. Shipping samples via courier from China costs roughly $50 for 5 kilograms, $85 for 10. Once samples arrive, evaluate and narrow down. Then start negotiating terms, payment structure, lead times, MOQ flexibility, quality guarantees. This is where the relationship you built in person pays off. You're not a faceless Alibaba message anymore. You're the person who sat in their conference room and ate lunch with their team. Your first order will feel nerve-wracking. That's normal. Start with a smaller quantity to test the relationship. Pay your deposit on time. Communicate clearly. And when the shipment arrives and the quality is right, you'll know the trip was worth every dollar. If you're thinking about visiting China for sourcing, don't wait for the perfect moment. The visa-free window is open through December 2026. Flights are accessible from almost anywhere, and the factories on the other side genuinely want to work with serious international buyers. Subscribe to WorldFirst. We're a global payments platform that helps importers and exporters pay suppliers across borders, and we publish practical sourcing guides like this every week. If you're building a business that involves manufacturing in China, we're building content to help you do it smarter. See you on the ground.